And now a film from the 80s that I think maybe I'd heard of, but was really unfamiliar with. From 1987, we have a deluxe 3-disc set from Severin Films of the movie Retribution, starring Dennis Lipscomb as a guy. The movie opens. I'm going to front load the quality check here. Transfers phenomenal on this movie, on this Blu-ray. The opening title is like nearly 3D. It's this POV shot going down the streets of like the Sunset Strip and sleazy Sunset Strip in LA, intercut with people in Halloween masks, like at a Halloween party or something. And you see the title is in this Reanimator shocking green, and it almost felt like it was lifting off my screen. It looked so good. The movie opens with Dennis Lipscomb basically committing suicide, jumping off the roof of this Fleabag hotel that he lives in, bounces off a car, basically has a vision of this green tunnel, going into the light, and this weird, ugly, mutiny face screaming, wakes up in a care facility, is nursed, I'm not going to go beat by beat on this, is nursed back to health by a care worker, nurse administrator there, and then goes back to his life as this, tortured, not terribly successful painter in a Fleabag hotel filled with vagrants and a hooker with a heart of gold, portrayed by Suzanne Snyder from Return of the Living Dead 2 and Killer Clowns and a bunch of 80s stuff. And it's him sort of romancing this girl, but also having these weird flashes where he sees visions of somebody being murdered and sort of segs into a different personality and starts questioning people he doesn't know, and bad things start happening to people he doesn't know that he keeps pursuing for some reason. That's all I'm going to really say about the plot. It involves supernatural revenge. Let's just say that. The title Retribution is apt. This is a revenge movie, supernatural revenge horror, late 80s, so it has that weird pastel-y, neon, candy-colored look to a lot of it. Lipscomb I always remember as Harlan Kevo on The Famous Teddy Z. Probably one of 2 people in the world who sees Dennis Lipscomb in anything and goes, hey, it's Harlan Kevo. Some familiar faces in this. Hoyt Axton shows up at one point as a cop investigating these weird murders that Lipscomb sort of has a hand in. And the shortcut to this plot is, if you know JD's Revenge, partway through this I'm like, this is kind of a remake of JD's Revenge in a way. I didn't particularly care for it. I thought it was way too long for what it is. At one point, I paused the film just to take a break or had to look away for a second. I like to actually pay attention to these when I'm watching them. And I saw that I was 54 minutes in and there were 54 minutes left. And I'm like, what hour of anything is left in this movie? For me, it was just too long. I think there's this line of demarcation for me, after which I don't really dig 80s stuff. I'm more of a fan of the early 80s stuff. So as it gets later, 80s into 90s, I feel like they're just cheesy. And I feel like this was that point too where the horror genre was leaning more toward being jokey and kitschy and silly than it was serious. And for me, that balance didn't work. I mean, Dennis Lipscomb is a good actor, but in this, his portrayal in this, for the most part, I found more laughable than anything. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. It just seemed like he was performing at a lighter tone than the material really warranted. Suzanne Snyder is very likable and sweet in this. Hoyt Axton doesn't have much to do, but he's Hoyt Axton. He's cool. And there are other recognizable faces. But I really wasn't into this. But let us say, again, as I say with so many of these new special editions that are coming out now from Severin and other companies, if you're a fan of this movie, there is no better edition than what this has just been released. This is 3 discs with a slipcover if you buy that. 1 disc is the theatrical cut and a lot of extras. Another disc is a reconstruction, so it looks good from what I scanned through it quickly. A reconstruction of the Dutch VHS release, which I guess had a lot of extra stuff in it or different stuff in it. I guess the US theatrical release had a lot of the gore or violence trimmed, and the Dutch version has that in it. So 2 versions of the movie. I want to say it's got the soundtrack CD, a booklet, and then just a boatload of extras. So if you're a fan of 1987's Retribution, or you get this and really like it, there are hours of extras to delve into to tell you where this movie came from. There's even a short film by the director, which is weird, a very weird, dark. It's strange. It's like a 2-minute student film that the director made, but the quality is excellent for what it is. And yeah, out now from Severin Films on 3-disc Blu-ray. The supernatural revenge thriller, horror comedy, maybe? Retribution.